Hey guys, what's going on? BizzyDad here. You there checking out the latest Force of Will discussion video. And as all the buzz is coming for Echoes of the New World, the final set in the Lapis Cluster, which is coming up within a couple of weeks, we are 1 day closer to that new set. But at the same time, we're also 1 day closer to the Alice Cluster being rotated out. And I love the Alice Cluster. It is my favorite. Some of the cards and sets in there are phenomenal. So while the cards are still active, we still get a few months worth out of it. I just wanted to open up some discussion because I love hearing from you guys and love interacting with you guys. So I wanted to give you, in my opinion, make sure I stress this, the top 15 cards of the Alice Cluster. So really what I did was try to pick the cards that I thought were the most powerful, the most used, the most abused in some ways, but really just the most influential and the most relative cards of the cluster that you see in decks at the time and you still see in decks today. So of course this is just opinion, just because I think a card ranks in the top 15 doesn't mean it really is. But again, this is just to open up the floor for some discussion and just talk about the game. That's what we want to do, just grow this game. But I would be remiss to not at least put in the honorable mention, potential number 1, get it, keyword, and it is Reflect Refrain. Now, I did not have this in the top 15. However, you can definitely make the case that this is the number 1 card in the Alice Cluster, a complete powerhouse to the point where it was banned for life. As you know, I like to say persona non grata, banned in New Frontier, banned in Wanderer, just get out, no more Reflect Refrain at all. So everyone knows this ruler. If you've come across him, he is a true maniac. The thing is, and I want to make a separate video on this where I'm going to compare Reflect to the new Prisia to see which one is actually hurt the game more. But I don't want to go into too much detail about it now. But I will say with Reflect Refrain is, yes, you saw him everywhere. He was literally almost every deck in the big tournaments and in your local tournaments. You saw him all the time too. But there was so much creativity with Reflect because you could build anything around this ruler. I've seen him with fairies. You see him with zombies or dragons. I ran him with Cthulhu's. Reflect was all over the place, all different colors, all different combinations, and creativity was so much. But he was powerful, and she on the refrain side, sorry ladies, and was just rotated out. So just an honorable mention, a potential number 1, Reflect, Child of Potential, did not make the list because he is banned, and you just do not see him. You're not allowed to see him. So we're going to go into the top 15, and again, just my opinion, just for some fun. Want to hear what you guys think about it. So coming in at number 15 is Valentina, Puppet Monarch. Now you have to remember, Alice Cluster did not have the Bear Magics and the barrier cards for the Resonators that came out. So when this card was played, it really made you slump shoulders because you knew you were losing one of your Resonators. When the Valentina comes into the field, you just take control of one of your opponent's Resonators as long as Valentina is still alive. So your opponent would try to get rid of Valentina so they can get their Resonator back, but at the same time, it really was just a 2-for-1 swing on the board. You got Valentina out, you got their biggest or best Resonator on your side of the board too. Valentina is a really strong card. For 4/8/8, but like I said, just when she came in, she got to take control of one of your opponent's Resonators. For the time period, just a very dangerous card and deserving to be on the list, although just made it. 14, Rewriting Laws. Now, this probably will get some disagreement, and I'm okay with that, but I just look at it at the utility of the card. So it was a 2-drop chant, and basically, all of your stones now made any color. You get to recover 2 stones, and you get to draw a card. So this is really just a free card that basically gets you to draw a card, and now all of your stones make any color. And when you're running different color cards in your deck, and you just don't have the will out there to make a certain play, this just saved your butt, because now you pick 2 stones up, you can make any color you want, and you get to draw a card. And Rewriting Laws, is still used today in a lot of green decks. Really just to draw, set up combos. They use it with Feet Sing so they can get themselves a token and really just set plays up. This is a pretty good card. I really liked it, and I use it a lot. Still use it in my green decks when I can. 13, Scorn of Dark Alice. This was and this still is a staple card in dark decks. It's a 1-drop chant. Look at target opponent's hand and choose a resonator. They discard the card. This is just really great. 1-drop. Look, it's a 1-for-1. You get rid of one of their resonators, but the most valuable part on top of getting rid of resonators is the information. You get to look at your opponent's hand, and that is just crucial. You see what they have. You see what they could potentially do. You could see what they could potentially stop. So, really good card. Came out in Twilight Wanderer with the Dark Alice, and just really strong and still used today. Number 12. Vivian, a throwback. And anyone who runs fairy decks, so if you ran into the fairies, you feared this card, Vivian, the 3-drop fairy resonator, 500 attack, 700 defense with flying. When you rest it, you could put a fairy resonator with total cost of 1 or less from your hand right into your field. This was just really crazy. Do it on your opponent's turn. At the end of turn, you can just rest Vivian, put in a fairy, and now it goes into your turn where it can happen again. And whenever a fairy resonator came in, all your other fairies gain +2/+2 until the end of the turn. And really the fairies were about swarming and then just building up their attack as much as possible and then just send the house, just make them all swing. Vivian, really strong card with the fairies and just one that you feared. So I think she deserves to be in this list. Number 11, Wind Secluded Refuge, another one that you will still see today. And a really powerful card. It's an addition that lets you draw a card for 2. But when a spell or ability your opponent controls targets a J resonator you control, you banish the Wind Secluded Refuge. And if you do that, you cancel the spell or ability. So this basically just protects any one of your J resonators, even your J ruler, against any spell that targets them, even the dreaded Black Moonbeam. This is how you can protect your J ruler from Black Moonbeam, Wind Secluded Refuge. Very strong card. It was basically made because of Black Moonbeam. It gave you a way out, although you did have to run green for it. But still, the answer was there, and the answer is still used today. This is how they protect that Persia. This is how they protect all the J rulers so they don't get hit with that Black Moonbeam. We may or may not see that card later on, but Wind Secluded Refuge. And don't forget, it does let you get to draw a card too. So, very useful. Number 10. Lapis's Darkstorm. And if you see my channel for a while, one of my mantras is, in this game, discard is death. And this is the best discard card that there was in the Alice Cluster. So it was too dark, so you had to run dark for this, but your opponent discards a card at random and then discards a card. So a 2-for-1 swing, you use 1 card, use Darkstorm, and they discard 2 cards. And this is a really crippling, especially when your opponent is down to 2 or 3 cards in their hand. Chances are they're going to lose either all their cards or a card that they were really looking forward to play. And so discard, definitely one of the strongest plays in this game. If your opponent doesn't have cards, there's just not much they can do. And Darkstorm on the list at number 10. Now, number 9, talking about feared cards, talking about powerful cards in their heyday, Lancelot. Everyone knows Lancelot's with the 6/6 with swiftness for 2 red. But if you got Lancelot to 1,000 attack, it would deal 700 to a target resonator on its attack trigger. And there are just so many cards that would pump Lancelot up +400. Tailor-made to pump Lancelot up +400 attack, so he would get to that 1,000. Now, Lancelot could also do it himself, or herself in this case. For 1 red, it gains +100 attack to the turn until the end of the turn, trying to get it to 1,000, so it can really just do a lot of damage. Lancelot was huge early on in the Alice Cluster days and really just made red aggro what it was, just a really heavy card and just a card that people try to get rid of right away. And Lancelot with Ame no Habakiri, for those people who played it back in the day, know that was just devastating and could just win the game almost immediately. So, number 8, Adamberly, the Unfathomable. You know I love the Cthulhu, as a Cthulhu has to get into this list, right? Well, it's not just me. Everybody loves Adamberly because Adamberly can fit into any deck. So it's a 3-drop if you want to play it a hard cast, but you really just don't unless you're completely desperate. It does have the Incarnating, which means that you could banish 2 of your resonators in order to put a Domberly onto the field. And then depending on the color of the resonators you banish, you get these bonus effects, which was just really strong. And Domberly is still out there, still in those feat-sing decks, still in decks that can just net you some advantage, net you some bonuses. Domberly was really strong and fit right in with the other Cthulhus that could come in for incarnating too. But what set Domberly apart was you could do it for any color. All the other Cthulhus were tied to either dark or red, one or the other, both exclusive. They have their restrictions. Domberly could come in for any 2 colors, and I think that's what made him so versatile and in the end so dangerous because of what they could do. If you banish dark, your opponent loses 400 life, and how many times have you been down to your last 1,000? You're playing against somebody who's running dark red, and they hit you for a lightning strike, and then all of a sudden they use a Domberly a turn or 2 later, and for dark, you lose the 400 life, and then you lose the game. I like to run the old Yggdrasil World Tree. When it's down to 100, a Domberly gets by all those protections if they incarnate for dark and make you lose that 400 life. So Domberly, very good card. Very sad to see him rotate out. You know I love those Cthulhus. Next up, Rook Egg. Staple, just like Lancelot, except Rook Egg is still around, and it's in number 7 on this list. The 1-drop Egg Resonator, whenever it hit the graveyard, you get to go into your deck, find any fire resonator, put it into your hand. So that automatic replacement is what made Root Egg so coveted in all these red decks. Plus, it made you go get a fire resonator and replace yourself right into your hand, set up your next play. So really valuable card. Number 6, Space-Time Anomaly. So Moonlit Savior had 2 multicolored spells that were just so huge. And this is one of them right here. 1 dark, 1 blue. It's an instant. I play it at any time. With Remnant as well, so you can play it out of the graveyard. I mean, the card is just so strong. And again, still use. You play against anybody with dark and blue, they're going to have this in their deck. Target J Resonator gains -5/-5 until the end of the turn, and you get to draw a card. If you have enough will, you can play it, and then again, Remnant it right out of the graveyard, hit it for -1,000. That will probably kill a lot of things, and then you get to draw 2 cards out of it. Still used today in those dark decks with blue. And just really powerful card. And I also always loved the flavor text at the bottom of it, which says, "The weak shall be disposed of." And that's perfect for this card right here. We're going into the top 5, guys. And I just mentioned those dual-colored spells. And here it is at number 5. It is Seal of Wind and Light, the same exact set as Space-Time Anomaly. So it was 1 green and 1 light. Another instant, so they could do it at any time, and this is just a devastating card because it says cancel target spell. And just like that, you use all your stones for your big resonator play, and then here comes Seal and Wind and Light just to cancel it. If you also ran Moon, you can also pay Moon as an awakening, and then the players can't chase to the card, so that can't be canceled and it can't be countered. Again, just one of the most powerful cards. Again, still used to this day. Just like I said, if anybody runs dark and blue, they're going to have Space-Time Anomaly. You run across anybody who's running green and white, you know Seal of Wind and Light is most likely in that deck and something that you're going to have to keep in the back of your mind every single time you summon a resonator or play a big spell, because this thing might come out and just ruin it for you. Really powerful card still used. Number 4, Black Moonbeam. One of the most powerful cards in the Lapis Cluster. One of the most powerful cards to date. 2 dark. Instant. Destroy target J-Ruler. Can't chase to the card. This thing comes down, it's over. The only way to prevent your J-Ruler from being killed is with the Wind Secluded Refuge. And again, this is why it was made. They try to play the Black Moonbeam. You can banish the Wind Secluded Refuge and save your J-Ruler from being destroyed. But if that card is not out there, it's over. Your J-Ruler is gone. It doesn't matter what you have out there to give it imperishable. You can't chase. Once this card comes down, it's over. Black Moonbeam was actually created in response to Reflect Refrain, which is so crazy to think because Reflect Refrain could barely be destroyed and was just running wild. Black Moonbeam came out really just as an attempt to answer it. Reflect got banned, Black Moonbeam didn't, and it just runs wild here to this day. Again, people, they run dark, they're going to run Black Moonbeam. You're going to think twice about when to flip over your ruler when you see people with Black Moonbeam. Number 3, Gwyber, the White Dragon. This is from Seven Kings of the Land. A 5-drop, 12/12 flying dragon resonator, but it has one of the most abused discounts to this day. It's still used. So you pay 2 less for every resonator that entered the field that turn. So if you have 2 resonators that got into the field this turn and you still have them on the board, Gwyber only costs 1 light to play. Again, you run into Turbo Feed Sing, you're going to run into a Domberly, you're going to run into Gwyber. That's just how it goes. But Gwyber really fits into any deck really that runs light. You might as well throw 1 copy in there, maybe 2. In the event that you get 2 resonators on the board, you can get Gwyber in there as well. Gwyber is just a really strong card, especially if you can get him for 1. Even if you can get him for 3. For 3-drop, a 12/12 flyer is really strong. So just a card that has stood the test of time and will slowly be relegated to Wanderer format only once Lapis Cluster rotates out. Number 2, Levitine. Controversial? Yes. About to be banned for life in the Wanderer format? Yes. But it is here because it's used all over the place, and this could be number 1 as well, but I have it at number 2. So it is the only regalia on the list, but out of all the regalia, it is the most powerful. So, of course, 0, and it gives your J-Ruler swiftness. You can rest it to pump your J-Ruler plus 200 damage for the turn. You can banish a resonator on your field for nothing to recover it and get the graveyard effects. You could discard another one in your hand to get red. You can also banish it to give your J-Ruler imperishable. It's just such a powerful card, and so many decks ran Levitine, and so many decks still do, just to give the J-Ruler swiftness, just to get the ability to banish your own resonators if they have graveyard effects, or to save it from one of your opponent's spells, anything like that. Levitine, of course, the conversation, should we ban Levitine? Should they do an early ban? It's such a powerful card, and in it, number 2. But number 1, in my opinion, I always have to stress this, the number 1 card of the Lapis Cluster, drum roll please, there's no one here with drums, so there's not going to be any drum roll, but it is Ruler's Memoria. It's a magic stone, a special magic stone, and I have this at number 1 because, to me, it's the most powerful card. It's a magic stone that produces any color, except the moon, but any color. You rest it, you make anything that you want. Now, again, we're focusing on Lapis Cluster. To be able to make any color at any time, to set up any play you want, just makes it to me, the most useful, the most versatile card. Now, there is a restriction. You needed a regalia. If you didn't have a regalia, this came in rested. So that might be your counter argument to me as to why it shouldn't be number 1. But if you had the regalia, it came in ready to go. Even if you didn't, the next turn, it's going to be ready to go to give you any single color that you want. And again, you see this in decks all over the place today. Back when Lapis Cluster was the lead cluster, you saw it in so many decks, and it just opened up so many different possibilities. At one point, it was the most valuable card besides the Cheshire Cat, I believe. I think the full arts were going for $30. I don't remember. The value has dropped tremendously because this is another card that is banned in Wanderer. So once Alice rotates out, this card is a dead card. Unless they unban it, I have heard rumblings that they might just unban this because in the Wanderer format, I think the Moonstones are a little more powerful than Ruler's Memoria. But again, a separate discussion for a separate video. But to me, it is the number 1 card. It's the most powerful card, and it is a magic stone. And if you notice, there are no rulers in this countdown. I'm going to do a separate video where we focus on the rulers. So guys, that's it. My top 15 cards of the Lapis Cluster. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you like about it? What do you not like? What would you switch in and out? Let me know. Comments below. Want our discussions? I love it. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. More videos coming as always. Thanks for a few minutes, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.